Good morning, students. In the previous class, we discussed about the growth of entrepreneurship. Okay, the growth of entrepreneurship with respect to the pre-independence, and also we discussed about the post-independence. Okay, so that's how the entrepreneurship acumen has been developed in India. So today we'll discuss about the factors affecting the entrepreneurial growth. Okay, so that is nothing but how the each nation and the countries, the growth of this entrepreneurial or the entrepreneurship has affected. What factors are to be taken into consideration? Okay, in this context, the learning objective of this chapter, that is factors affecting the entrepreneurial growth, are we need to identify the various economic factors and non-economic factors that emerges of the development of the entrepreneurship in the country. And also we need to state the effect of these factors on the entrepreneurship development, and also in what way the government actions are being taken care, or the government will take the actions towards the development of entrepreneurship. Because these are all the learning objective of this chapter. So now we'll discuss some of the points related to the economic factors, how these economic factors affect the growth of entrepreneurship. So there are 4 economic factors. Guys, note down. The first one is capital. Second one is the labor. The third one is raw material. And the fourth one is market. These are the 4 major economic factors that determine the growth of entrepreneurship of every nation. Okay, how these factors are important and how these factors will affect the growth, okay, we'll discuss. Well, students, consider the first point, that is capital. As you know that the capital is one of the most important prerequisites to establish the enterprise. Okay, the availability of capital facilitates the entrepreneurs to bring together the land of one, machines of another, raw material of yet another, to combine them and produce goods. Therefore, capital is regarded as one of the major lubricant to the process of production. Okay, our accumulate experience suggests that with the increase in the capital investment, the capital output ratio tends to increase. The results will be increase in the profit, which ultimately goes to the capital formation. That's why suggests that capital supply in any nation increases the entrepreneurship. Okay, this is how the most of the Western countries like UK, Europe, US, okay, these are all the countries, they have been flooded money like anything for the entrepreneurs. Okay, do you know how much charge the interest on the entrepreneurs in those countries like US, Japan and other things? Hardly 2% or 3% for any business loan. Whereas if you consider the India, they charge more than 7 to 8%. More than 7 to 8%. See the drastic difference in the charging of the interest by the government. Okay, so the capital should be made very easily available to the entrepreneurs with a low interest then only the countries grows towards the entrepreneurs. The countries will try to become the industrialized. Okay, and also the money is most important. The poor countries, they have shortage of the money. That's why they are called as poor countries, because they lag with respect to the industries, with respect to entrepreneurs. Okay, to make the country to go towards entrepreneurship, we need to, that is, the government need to think of, okay, the promoting the entrepreneurs by giving loan, okay, giving investment with a low price interest like Japan, US and UK. So that's why the money is most important to buy land, to buy equipments, to pay wages for the construction, for anything we need money. Okay, the capital is most important. Then the second aspect, or the second factor that is affecting the entrepreneurial growth is labor. Okay, the quality of the labor rather than the quantity of the labor is another factor which influence the emergence of entrepreneurship. It is noticed that cheap labor is often less mobile, even it is immobile, and the potential advantage of low cost labor are negated by the deleterious effect of the labor immobility. Okay, so here the labor, okay, has to be taught in different ways. Some of the industries like textile industries, okay, where it requires huge labors of non-technical, or the quality they do not expect much, but they expect more quantity of the labors with the minimum education. Okay, and they will be trained for a week in the textile industry and make use of those labors. They are cheap labors. So you might have been observed when going to Bangalore in the morning around 7:30 to 8, you can see the people going across the road by carrying their tiffin boxes. Many people will be going. So those people, those labors are very cheap labors, and they are going for most of the textile industries and for the small scale industries at Pinya. Okay, they are all cheap labors. So for some industries we expect the cheap labors rather than the quality, we need quantity. Okay, that is the one factor. Depending upon the industry, whether we need a technically skilled people or we need a quantity of the people, that you need to do a trade-off between the industry. For example, consider the industries like big industries like software industries, where the quality of the labor is important. Almost everybody should be a graduate, engineering graduate, because the software development product involves only the quality of the people, not the cheap labors or the unskilled labors. Okay, the software industries in Bangalore is, it is the icon on the whole world map. Bangalore is a software industry. For the software industry, Bangalore is an icon on the global map because of the high quality technical engineers who involved in developing the software products. Okay, so like this, depending upon the industry, whether do we get the cheap labor, do we get the quality of the labor, nearby our industry where we have decided to set up industry. But the labor is one of the important factor in the growth of the entrepreneurship. Okay. So the India and China, we have got abundant of labors, whereas you consider the Canada, UK and US, we acute shortage of labors. We don't get labors there as we expect in India and China. So that's why labor is one of the determinant factor for the growth of entrepreneurship. The third factor is raw material. Yes. Okay. The countries, those countries or those nations which are very rich with minerals within the earth crust or their nature. If more and more rich with minerals, the countries, okay, the industries, the chances of setting up more and more industries, okay, because we need to consume the earth minerals and produce some raw materials or products which are being needed for the whole world. So the industries will come up because of the countries which have rich resources of minerals. Okay. So the necessity of the raw material hardly needs an emphasis for establishing an industrial activity, and therefore it influences the emergence of the entrepreneurship. In absence of the raw material, neither an enterprise can be established nor the entrepreneur can be emerged. That is, if the country is finding acute shortage of minerals, then we cannot expect the entrepreneurship, or we cannot expect the entrepreneurs to grow. Okay? So, to grow entrepreneurship, the nation should consist of rich minerals within their nation. That is one thing. Okay, then talk about the Japan. Do you think that the Japan, it is like just like a Karnataka, if you consider the land or this area of the state, it's like just small country, Japan, but they are number one in the whole world, and they don't have any minerals. Okay, very acute shortage of minerals in their country. Then how come they are number one in the entrepreneurship? Okay, guys, if you see Japan, every house, whether he is aged about 90 years or 100 years or 80 years, whatever he may be, okay, they earn themselves. They don't eat the money which has given by the government. They don't eat the money which has been earned by their family members. They are so independent people. Okay, they earn themselves, and unless until they work, they don't eat. So it is there in the blood, like what we give in Karnataka state or whole India. The government will give 10 kgs of rice, 5 kgs of jawar, like that, nothing doing. Okay, they need to earn their bread and butter by themselves, and they eat. And nobody would like to simply sit and eat. So that is there in the blood of the Japanese people. So every house is an industry. Every house is a cottage industry. The government support with the technical knowledge, the technical know-how, as well as the capital, as well as they provide material, as well as they buy the products manufactured by the cottage industries. The government will come forward, take the responsibility of all these things, and they produce. Hence, they are number one in the whole world. Okay, even though they do not have any minerals in their earth crust. Okay, that is there in the blood, entrepreneurial blood. Their blood, everybody has got entrepreneurial blood. Okay, this is how the Japanese are number one, even though raw material shortage. Here we are selling that, no doubt. If we are got rich with the raw material, definitely there will be entrepreneurs and there will be entrepreneurship. Even though some of the challenges are going to be faced by some of the nations, even though they are acute shortage of the material, they should have to come up with the industrialization. Okay, so then the fourth factor is market. Okay, the fact remains that the potential of the market constitutes the major determinant of the probable rewards for the entrepreneurial function. Okay, so the market is must. Okay, we procure raw material, we manufacture and keep the ready products in the market. If there are no people to buy the products which we manufactured, then what is the use when there is no market? Okay, so you decide whether do you have the market for the consumption, what the product you have manufactured. You go for the survey and identify if the demand is available for your product, then only you can go for manufacturing. Okay, that is, if you have the huge market, if you have got huge potential or huge demand for the product which we manufacture, whatever will be the product, whether product may be with your equipment, TVs, a refrigerator, washing machines, textile goods, cloths, etc., whatever it may be. Are the customers in the market? That you need to identify. Okay, where there is a huge market, then only there will be chances of more entrepreneurship, then more entrepreneurs will originate. Okay, so the market is also most determinant factor for the growth of entrepreneurship. Understand? So these are some of the four important economic factors. Then we talk some of the non-economic factors. Okay, you list out. The first one is the social conditions, in that the legitimacy of entrepreneurship, and social mobility, the third factor. The fourth one is marginality. Fifth factor is need for achievement, etc. These are the five important non-economic factors which affects the growth of entrepreneurship. Okay, the legitimacy is the relevance of norms and values within the social, cultural settings for the emergence of enterprise. The meaning of legitimacy is relevance of norms and values within the social, cultural setting for the emergence of entrepreneurship. Okay, is important for the growth of entrepreneurship. The importance of such legitimacy in terms of appropriate social climate for the entrepreneurship. Okay, the social legitimacy, the legitimacy of entrepreneurship, the knowledge of entrepreneurship. Okay, if you take the Indians, we have got very much less legitimacy of entrepreneurship. If you take the example of Japan, okay, they are very much, okay, almost all Western, German, Europe countries, they are very much aware or legitimacy of entrepreneurship. That's why they are growing. Okay, in the social norms and values have to be there with respect to the social legitimacy. The entrepreneurship will grow. Okay, the next factor is social mobility. The social mobility involves the degree of mobility, both social and geographical, the nature of mobility channel within the system. Okay, the mobility in case of the quantity or the unskilled labor, they are socially immobile, which we can observe when you go towards Bangalore in the morning or in the evening. We find a lot of people coming towards, going towards industry or the house. Okay, those are called as immobile people. They are only the quantity rather than the quality. They have got very minimum education, the second standard, third standard, fourth standard, or before SSLC. So the social mobility occurs, okay, in the case of qualitative labors, okay, where the quality of the labor is high. For example, the software engineers. Okay, you might have been observed, no software engineer is serving for any big industries, take TCS, Wipro, Infosys and all. Hardly they stay 2 to 3 years or 5 years maximum. Immediately they leave the job, they jump to the other industry or they jump to the other nation. This is called social mobility. The social mobility is in the highly skilled people rather than the unskilled people. So this is also one of the factors which affects the growth of industries. Okay, growth of industries. So if the rich or the high quality engineers, if they doesn't move to the other countries, okay, if they have inclined towards setting their own businesses and in the own country itself, definitely there will be growth of entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurs. Okay, we try to control the social mobility within our nation, then only our country will become industrialized country. Okay, then marginality is another factor. Okay, the third factor. The group of scholars holds strong view on social marginality, also promotes the entrepreneurship. Okay, they believe that the individuals or the group on the perimeter of the given social system between two social systems provide a personnel to assume the entrepreneurial roles. The marginality is the one where the segregated areas, okay, we can find in the social system, they are, for example, if we take some of the districts of our Karnataka, you take some of the districts of Tamil Nadu, okay, for example, the Coimbatore or the Chennai. So there are many entrepreneurs are there. Okay, if, the marginality, the areas or the social system, okay, everybody involved in making some businesses, okay, or the industry. And you take the example of some of the states like Gujarat. Okay, those people are meant for only the business. Okay, we find Gujaratis everywhere in every state of our country. So like this, the marginality is also one of the determinant factors for the growth of entrepreneurs. Okay, if you ask the people living in Gujarat, okay, their blood is entrepreneurial blood. They want to do business. They don't want to work for any industries or something like that. They want to do the business. They want to set up the industries and they work. Okay, so that is called as the marginality. Then the security is another non-economic factor. Okay, for the support or the growth of entrepreneurs. If the government provides certain security for the industries or the growth of the industries, definitely the industries will grow. If the industries are insecure, there is no support from the government, so the industries will collapse. Industries will collapse. Okay, there is a very less security in terms of the Indian government if you consider compared to the governments of US, UK and European governments, Japanese governments. They give high security. They have got, if any industries unsucceed, if they are lost, they have got a lot of promotional, lot of rehabilitation schemes in the government. Okay, they see that the dying industries have to come again, they are allowed to regrow for such industries. That is security. Okay, so if more secured, then the businesses will grow. And also most of the foreign investor, okay, they see that the stable government, they see the stable government and the government which provides certain promotional, certain attractive policies for the investors, like Modi's government. Okay, like Modi's government is one of the best government so far I have seen, which are supporting for businesses or which are supporting for entrepreneurial growth. He is inviting every nation, every country to invest their money in the manufacturing, okay, in the industries. Okay, so if other countries they come and invest their manufacturing facilities in our country, that solves our unemployment problem. That solves our huge unemployment problem because our population is very high. Okay, and we don't have the money which the Western or the European people they have their capital, rich capital. We don't have that much of money in our hand. That's why the Modi's government is attracting all the investors to invest and do the business in India. Okay, so he is going to provide a lot of stable government as well as he is going to provide a security for the business which they come and set up in India. That's why the Modi is aiming, okay, in the whole world map. He wanted to keep India as one of the manufacturing hub for not for the India itself, it is for the globe. Okay, his vision is that India has to be kept on the global map as a manufacturing hub. As a manufacturing hub. Similarly, for Karnataka, the Tumkur is going to be treated as one of the manufacturing hub for the Karnataka state. Okay, whereas India is for the whole world. It is his vision. Okay, he is going to achieve he has got certain goals and visions in his mind by another 10 years or 15 years. Okay, definitely he is going to provide or is going to meet that vision of making India as an industrialized country. Okay, so like this, the security also plays an important role, and the need of achievement is another factor of the non-economic factor. So in our blood, okay, that is, some of the entrepreneurs, they have their own zeal of setting up of an entrepreneurs. Okay, the many people who works for industries for 10 to 15 years or 20 years, so they don't want to work for the industry again. They wanted to start their own industry because of the knowledge which they acquired. That is called as need for achievement. So the many people who have worked for 10 to 15, 20 years, they have started their own businesses, the manufacturing industries. That should be there in the blood of the people. That's why the industries will come up. So these are all the non-economic factors. Then the third, the government actions. Government actions. Okay, this is one of the important factors for the growth of entrepreneurs. Okay, the interested government in the economic development can help through its clearly expressed industrial policy. Okay, if the government wants to support for entrepreneurship, okay, they need to derive, they need to express a good motivational industrial policies and promote the entrepreneurship in one way or the other. So the every 5 years, okay, the industrial policies are made by the government which is coming for the ruling. So they derive their own industrial policies for the promotion of entrepreneurship. Okay, the promotional industrial policy provided by the Modi's government is one of the outstanding with respect to the entrepreneurship growth. Okay, in concern to the government. Okay, the lot of schemes, Skill India development, Digital India. Okay, you can list out hundreds of the government policies for the promotion of the entrepreneurship. Okay, that's why the government action plays a very important role in developing the entrepreneurship. We have one of the integrated constructual model. Integrated constructual model. Okay, you can refer the sketch where we have political, organizational, economic, socio-cultural and psychological. Okay, the government, the inputs, maybe tangible inputs or intangible inputs, or maybe the external. Okay, there will be direct inputs and there will be indirect inputs for the industrialization. So the direct inputs, you can name that the lot of training programs have to be provided by the government, like EDP, Entrepreneurship Development Program. Okay, the every district, every taluk has got industrial training centers. So they do conduct some kind of training programs. Okay, and the development of the farms, and they are involved in the consultancy of the development of industries, and also they provide certain technical knowledge to the entrepreneurs. Okay, and also they provide some marketing support, and also they provide some of the industrial activity services. Okay, the labor relation services. Okay, the common facility services, the industrial research services, so on. These are all the direct services are going to be provided by the government. At the same time, the laws, regulations, the basic utilities, infrastructure, industrial resources, human resources. Okay, so these are all the indirect inputs provided for the entrepreneurs, so that the entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship grows within the nation. That model is known as the integrated constructual model for the emergence of entrepreneurship. Okay, with this I complete the chapter, and now we will be aware of what are the non-economic factors, what are the economic factors, and what are the government factors that supports the entrepreneurship development, and also that supports for the entrepreneurs to grow in the countries. Okay, you take down the question, identify the factors, economic factors and non-economic factors that affects the entrepreneurial growth, and discuss in detail the second question, what are the government actions have to be taken into consideration for the entrepreneurial growth, and explain with the integrated constructual model. Okay, bye, take care, have a good day.